use the next 10 minutes to talk about Parliament and their probe. This week it started. In fact, not started, it really ended because instead of the public sitting, I don't know if they're going to invite anybody else because they've indicated that people should come through memoranda. Even that became a lot of controversy when MP for, what's his name? Former Deputy Education Minister, Ablakwa, Kukujutu Ablakwa had appeared to try and testify, but he was told, come through a memorandum. And he sort of wanted to go ahead and speak. Kuku, what's your reading of what has happened? Now we've had everybody. All the key guys have spoken publicly on the matter. Are you any closer to trying to understand where this whole thing is going to end?
See, members of Parliament who pretend not to know how Parliament works, a disgrace to that institution. Parliament has its own procedures, rules, regulations. The committees to have, even now, is within their competence to modify and do those things. And when the rules are set, you must meet the rules. Come by a memo. If the memo triggers the oral testimony, you may be given the chance. If not, it's incorporated as part of the committee's work and report. So there's no closure to you in terms of what you want to say or how you want to say it. That's important. And throughout parliamentary history, there are many examples. Okay, go take the third Republican Hansard, one of them. Check the Jabba case. President Liman made an allegation against John Soforata that he had gone to London to take bribe from Jabba, who was an AFRC convict. Go and check the proceedings and some of these arguments we're having today, and what even President Kufuor, then as Member of Parliament, said relative to procedures of committees of Parliament and how they unravel the things. But that's besides the point. What happened? Look, Ajaku was spot on. He made a key point. He had no motivation to bribe anybody, if you look at the circumstances. Apart from the fact that the majority would approve him. The committee itself said approve him by majority decision. Now, if you read the Hansard carefully, the 27 January 2017 Hansard, it's Aruna Idrusu who made the, and I'm sure you confirm, or Kukutu made, who actually made the point that they wanted to go into a conclave with Osafo Mafu and Ajaku. Because the minority thought that, look, we had said we won't approve them by consensus. The majority is going by majority decision. But we still think there's room for us to cure that problem and come by consensus. So Aruna Idrusu requested, and the speaker allowed, and they went into the conclave. Ajaku brought the appropriate evidence, also made the appropriate withdrawals. It's all in the Hansard. Aruna reported back to the House. So where was the risk? There was no risk. You check the records. There was no risk to Ajaku for him to have thought of, look, let me influence somebody. And then I asked this question last week. At the point in time of receipt of the so-called bribe money, the man who was receiving didn't know the purpose of it.
He says he was told it was allowance.
See, what are we talking about? He said he thought it was an allowance because the day before, because, yes, so it means that, look, if I'm giving you money to go to bribe you, and I don't tell you the purpose, you are not getting the drift.
Yeah, I get the drift now.
You must, I'm influencing you.
Because I'm supposed to influence you, so I have to tell you why I'm giving the money.
So at the point in time that I'm delivering, I'm influencing you, so it will come with the motive. That, look here, this is the purpose. Now we are interrogating Rumo in the House of Parliament. And this is not to suggest that certain things don't happen in Parliament. That's not to suggest so. But I'm saying that we are dealing with this particular case. It's becoming a sheer waste of precious time and space.
Having listened to everybody, you think that's what it is?
Because the man says he has no direct evidence, and that a radio station called him to tell him there is this rumor, and he decided to deal with the radio station on the rumor.
But he has two other MPs corroborating that position.
So what? A multitude of suspicions. Thank you.
Brief comment on this.
You know, I take a very different approach, and on one point I'll depart a bit from Kweku. Number one, I think this whole thing really should start us questioning that subculture within Parliament of taking money, and for that matter, cash. There is a lot of rumor around that even before a bill is passed by government itself, monies have to be paid to parliamentarians. And it's gotten to a point where it's not denied anymore. We have parliamentarians here, I don't know what they will say. That subculture has grown to the point where it's threatening our democracy. You have a situation now where somebody is saying that somebody of interest is trying to influence voting within parliament using money. And statements were made like, this year or this time we decided not to take any money. That is huge. Yeah. What does that say about the practice in parliament? And this is where I depart from Kweku, and I'm saying this because nobody has said it. This whole idea that Ejiakun had no motive, I differ a bit from it. In politics, optics, how things look, and perceptions are more important than reality. And anybody who has been subject to that process will tell you that they crave, they absolutely would love to have a unanimous approval.
No, not exactly.
Many people will tell you that they would prefer, they prefer to have a unanimous approval. Evans, I don't need to eat ice cream, but I just like to eat ice cream. Ejiakun does not need to bribe anybody. He did not need the minority. He would have liked to have a unanimous approval. He was, for me, the best person at the approval session. So the point I'm making
eventually, they went into a conclave.
Yes.
At the instance of the minority leader, who insisted that they would prefer a consensual approach to the majority approach. They went in there, the issues were clear, the man was able to defend himself, and he had consensus.
But he was never sure that he was going to get a unanimous.
It was not fatal to him. You know, I think we have to be very fair to him. It is when there's a Rex level that could embarrass you in terms of approval, that perhaps you start thinking about those options.
I agree with you.
But with our history.
I agree with you, but my point doesn't, your point doesn't cancel mine. What I'm saying is that Ejiakun had no risk. He would have been approved. And I think by even members of the minority. And I'm not saying he paid the money. I don't think he did. But I'm talking about a culture in parliament. And why I'm saying this is that we should get to the point where nobody is paid cash in parliament. Every payment must be properly processed and handled in such a way that these cash payments will go away. And I'm saying that you get to the point where people don't need to do things. But a practice can develop to the point where just for optics and perception, I don't think Ejiakun ever needed it. Somebody will just have to do it because the culture is there.
Let me get a quick comment from the MD.
Quickly, what I can say first to Mr. Ejiakun's motivation, I agree with you that you want consensus. But what we need to examine is, given what he's supposed to have paid, do you think it would be a reasonable?
Quick answer, no. That's what I'm dealing with the principle.
We just have to wrap up.
But as a member of parliament, I want to comment on the point you made. You see,
briefly,
the difficulty with this matter is that if you have to do a bill, for instance, and then MPs, you are invited on a weekend to go outside Accra, then it appears quite acceptable that you are given some TNT
by
the agency sponsoring the bill. Yes. So well, it's out of, because they say TNT. I want to conclude quickly on this. They say TNT. They say TNT. The question is that how much TNT? Because it then provides opportunity.
Yes.
The TNT then, because you don't have standard figures. That is where I agree with you that we need to look at all those things, and then we can say that this is what is right.
Mr. Hagan, forgive me. You want to say something in 1
just
second?
Quickly,
one word.
It's probably said what I was going to say, but the other point I wanted to make was that I don't want to even talk about Honorable Ejiakun. I'm talking about the mess that we ourselves, by this issue, we've created for Parliament, because the credibility of everyone.
Thank you very much, Ricky Hagan, former Deputy Trade Minister. Also, thank you very much, Kweku Kwarteng, incoming Deputy Finance Minister. Thank you, Kofi Bentil of Imani. Thank you, Abdul Malik Kukubai, for joining us. This has been News Farm. My name is Evans Mins. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Samson will be back next week.